In the 5th year of Gwyneth Payne's marriage to Asher Crowe, he tells her thrice that he wants to bring Liana Quayle along with them when they migrate. Gwyneth puts down the dishes she's just prepared and asks him why. He's frank with her. I don't want to keep this from you anymore. Liana lives in the residential area beside ours. She's spent 9 years with me, and I owe her too much. I must bring her with me when we migrate. Gwyneth doesn't cry or kick up a fuss. Instead, she books a ticket for Liana on their flight. Asher thinks she's finally seen sense. On the day they leave the country, Gwyneth watches Asher and Liana board the flight. Then, she turns and boards another flight that will take her back to her parents' home. Chapter Mrs. Crowe, are you sure you want me to cancel your flight ticket for moving abroad with Mr. Crowe in a week? Melina Brooks' voice came through the phone, sounding confused. She was Asher Crowe's assistant. Gwyneth Payne stood on the balcony. She glanced at the withered trees below and made her decision. Yes, book me a flight to my parents' place for the same day and get Liana a flight overseas for that day, too. I'll see them off to settle down overseas in a week, then head back to my parents' place. Melina was taken aback on the other end of the line. Liana Quayle was the other woman in Gwyneth's marriage. Melina couldn't figure out what Gwyneth was up to even though she was puzzled. She nodded. Got it, Mrs. Crowe. Gwyneth ended the call. Asher was in the living room. He jumped to his feet as soon as he saw her walk in. He looked impatient. Have you decided yet? Leah's still waiting on my answer. Gwyneth had just finished getting the meal ready 10 minutes ago. Asher came home and cut to the chase. I'm done hiding this from you. Leah actually lives in the neighborhood next to ours. She's been with me for 9 years, and I owe her so much. I have to take her along when we move abroad. Gwyneth had barely set the dishes down when her smile instantly disappeared. This wasn't the first time Asher had mentioned taking Liana abroad. When he first brought it up, Gwyneth had flipped out, wrecking the living room and cursing him for saying such a thing. The second time Asher brought it up, Gwyneth completely broke down. She slapped him and left home for a week. He hadn't called her at all during those 7 days. Gwyneth decided to let them have their way this time. I asked Melina to book her flight. You both can leave together. So, you have finally come to your senses. Asher's frown faded, and a smile spread across his face. Gwyneth dropped her gaze and twisted a strand of spaghetti around her fork. A rush of bitterness flooded her. I thought you said you were worried about her being alone in the country. She's easy to deceive because she's so trusting. Feeling like things were out in the open, Asher decided to drop the act. The mention of Liana brought a smile to his face. Honestly, Leah would make a better wife than you, but you got lucky, getting to know me a few years ahead of her. Once we're abroad, maybe you should learn from her how to keep a man happy. Asher's phone buzzed at that exact moment. He stepped out onto the balcony to take the call. Gwyneth watched him leave and looked down with a heavy heart. She'd always considered knowing him to be one of the greatest gifts in her life. When they were freshmen in high school, Asher wrote her 99 love letters to win her over. When their high school romance came to light, he visited the Payne residence with his parents. He dropped to his knees before Gwyneth's parents, sobbing as he pleaded with them to accept their relationship. After the SATs, Gwyneth checked her results and saw how badly she'd done. Asher aced it, but he wasn't happy about it. He secretly passed on a top university to attend a regular college with her. She hadn't failed him either. When Asher moved north to launch his business, she didn't hesitate to marry him, even though he was financially unstable. She supported his efforts all the way. He failed 3 years in a row, and Gwyneth followed him from their apartment to a damp basement, where they lived off cabbage and potatoes for a long while. Eventually, Asher made it in his business. He made their relationship public by posting their photos online, gave her 80% of his company's shares, and threw a belated grand wedding celebration.